Alhamdulillah wa salatu wa salam ala nabiyyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam. أما بعد أحبتي في الله السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. أسأل الله كريم رب العرش العظيم أن يتولنا في الدنيا والآخرة. أحبتي في الله, when we contemplate the pillars of Iman, the pillars of Iman, and we know that there's 6 pillars of Iman, as the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam said in the hadith of Jibreel, in which he salawatu rabbi wa salamu alayhi said, Iman أن تؤمن بالله وملائكته وكتبه ورسوله واليوم الآخر وتؤمن بقدر خيره وشره. He said, Iman, faith, is to believe in Allah and His angels and His books and His messengers, alayhim afdal salatu wasalam, and to believe in the Day of Judgment and the divine decree, the good and the evil of it. So those 6 pillars of Iman, they are the foundations of Iman. They are the foundation of the creed of the Muslim. The creed of Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'ah is built upon those pillars and far'an anhu, and branches from it. And it is imperative that we know and understand that. We show the new Muslim, and even the Muslim that's trying to return to his or her deen, and all of us must know that. We need to know the arkan al-Islam wa arkan al-Iman, the pillars of Islam and the pillars of Iman, because our religion is built upon that, and we can turn all of our affairs basically to that. So the pillars of Iman, that's dealing with your i'tiqad, your creed, and tu'mina billahi, believing in Allah, so that's tawheed. That's tawheed al-rububiyyah, tawheed al-uluhiyyah, tawheed al-asma'i wa sifat. And believing in the malaika, believing in these beings known as the malaika, and their various functions, as is mentioned in the Quran and the Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And the books, all the books that were sent and revealed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the tongues of the prophets, alayhim afdal salatu wassalam. And all the prophets, alayhim afdal salatu wassalam, who those we know of and those we don't know of. Those that are mentioned explicitly in the Quran and those that are not mentioned, we believe in them ijmaliyan, in general. And of course, believing in the day of resurrection, that we're all going to be held accountable for how we live this life, for the deeds we did in this life. You're not going to escape. Believe in that. These arkan al-Iman literally are arkan al-Iman. They are really the foundations of our faith, because you return all of your Iman to these pillars. And believing in these pillars, we don't just say wajib hukmiyan, that it's an obligation. Yeah, it's an obligation. But honestly, that is your Islam. Not believing it and negating it can nullify your Islam, meaning you're not a Muslim. If you believe in some of the prophets and you don't believe in some. You don't believe in the divine decree of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You don't believe in the Day of Judgment. You like everything else. You believe in everything else in your heart. And you're trying to practice it on your limbs and your tongue, but you don't believe in the divine decree, for example. You've negated your Islam. وَعِيَادٍ بِاللَّهِ وَإِيَّاكُمْ مِنْ ذَلِكَ لِمَاذَا? Because these are the pillars of Iman, the pillars of faith. Lastly, ahabati fillah, knowing these pillars, and the last pillar, which is believing in the divine decree of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, meaning that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has full knowledge of everything that exists and everything that will exist and everything that could have existed. He has full knowledge of it. He has written it in Al-Lawh al-Mahfuz. He has full, as we said, knowledge of it. Al-Kitaba, he's written it. And those are some of the maratib, or levels of the divine decree of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Nothing escapes His divine will and decree. It's all in accordance with His justice, divine justice, the most just. He's al-adl. And His wisdom, full wisdom. And nothing escapes His decree. Subhanahu wa ta'ala. So, knowing and understanding those pillars of Iman is imperative for us as believers in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we ask Allah Azza wa Jal, the Almighty, to accept our good and forgive our evil. Bless us with ikhlas, with thabat. Bless us with tawfiq in all that we do which is good, and forgive us for everything what we do which is sinful. Wa sallallahu wa sallam ala nabiyyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.